Hi there, it's Jenny from Quick Anime Recap. And today we're continuing the part 2 of the anime, Osamake. So sit tight and enjoy the video. The anime continues with Haru and Kuro get into a fight over her lying to him about the amnesia, and Haru's inability to figure out why she did it in the first place. Enraged, Haru breaks a taboo and calls her Black Heart, even declaring war against her. Back home, Haru immediately regrets his words, fearing her retaliation. On the other hand, Kuro fears the other girls will take advantage of the situation, and decides she needs a mediator. At the same time, Shiro schemes with Tetsuhiko to get ahead in the race for Haru's love. At the Ultramarine Alliance, the boys suggest a trip to Okinawa to have some summer memories, which the girls initially reject the idea of filming their swimsuits, but have to reluctantly give in when the project is ultimately approved through voting. Both Kuro and Momo are suspicious that this was all planned by Shiro, resulting a quarrel between Haru and Kuro, since now he trusts more in Shiro than in Kuro. Due to having to watch over her sisters, Kuro has to come with them the following day. Later that night, Aoi arrives to help out Haru, where she warns him not to enter in any relationship during the travel to the beach before solving his conflict with Kuro. After Shiro checks back in with Tetsuhiko, it is revealed that Rina is Tetsuhiko's half-sister, who wants to keep their familial connection a secret. The group, plus Momo's sister, Eri, prepare for the trip, as Shiro and Momo argue about each other's cooking abilities, and decide to have a cooking competition. After they decide to have the competition be a hot pot, Shiro is depressed as she's not good with hot pots and wanted to make fried chicken instead, which is Haru's favorite food. On a restaurant on the way to Okinawa, Momo befriends with Rina, and they both end up spying a conversation between Haru and Tetsuhiko. At the end, Momo concludes she is the last one on the ride for Haru's heart, and she decides not let he and Shiro gets closer during the trip. The group arrive to Shiro's family's villa where they start to relax. Meanwhile, while Kuro is doing her housework, she and Akane talks about the trip, which accidentally makes Kuro extremely angry and jealous by imagining Haru and Momo getting closer. On the beach, everyone are having fun, until Haru receives a text from Shiro, who wants to show her bikini in private. But before anything happens, he receives a jealous phone call of Momo, who is watching everything along with the group. Back to the beach house, while Haru and Rina study, Shiro attempts to practice their dance routine but runs into some trouble. So Haru decides to help her, showing his dance skills, making Rina and Tetsuhiko baffled by an idiot having such talent. That night, Shiro dejectedly returns to the beach, where she is comforted by Haru, as she discusses about everything she is anxious about. The two nearly kiss, until Haru remembers Aoi's words and stops. The next morning, Haru awakens greeted by Kuro and her sisters. Kuro is already angry at Haru because of the fun he got, being held by Midori as Aoi apologizes. Later, Kuro notices Haru and Shiro got closer and decides to use her secret weapon. At the beach, she decides to confront him, but Haru still refusing to forgive her until she apologizes. So, she goes for a more proactive approach by constantly saying I love you to him throughout the day, causing Haru to be annoyingly flustered. However, when they later work on their study sessions, Haru realizes the extra work that Kuro put into the assignment for him, and starts to appreciate her more. While setting up the stage for the girls' performance, Akane voices her confused feelings for seeing Haru with so many other girls. Later that night, Haru spots Shiro practicing for the dance, despite a slightly sprained ankle she got earlier. At the same time, Akane spies on them, which Aoi realizes is because she has started to develop a crush on Haru, which she has been trying to prevent for herself to avoid the pain. The next day, the girls put on their successful performance. But when Shiro nearly falls off the stage, Haru saves her, though resulting in him breaking his arm. Back at school, Abe meets up with Tetsuhiko to discuss the ongoing developments, with the latter surmising that Shiro is currently in the lead, due to being the type of girl Haru likes. Later, Haru learns that Shiro and her maid will be moving in to take care of him, much to Kuro's discomfort. That night, Kuro and Momo attempt to spend the night at Haru's place alongside Shiro, but both Kuro and Momo receive calls from their parents, informing they can't stay. Just then, Kuro's sisters pay them a visit, but they all act weirdly because of their feelings for Haru, and Kuro also provokes him by saying she loves him again. As they all leave, Shiro declares to Kuro her intention to use this situation to get closer to Haru. At the same time, Shiro's maid, Shion Oriji, tells Haru that Kuro is only doing everything out of a sense of respect, and tells him not to get any ideas. As Momo starts her first day at their school, she uses all her free time flirting with Haru, causing all the boys to get jealous, and Shiro to get annoyed. Shiro then proceeds to feed him during lunch, but he feels conflicted as he remembers Shion's words earlier, and he decides to go the rooftop, where Kuro meets him. They talk on the roof, and starts to get along again. Haru even provokes her in retribution, but they receive a call from Tetsuhiko, where he reveals to the group they have received an offer for a documentary series about Haru's life since his disappearance. Kuro is unsure, but Tetsuhiko convinces Haru by asking if he wants to get closure on his own merits. He also devises a plan to compromise, having the Alliance produce the documentary themselves, as well as Haru filming a new version of the final scene of his previous drama, Child King, which he accepts. Sometime later, the girls meet up to discuss putting up boundaries so they can't openly flirt with Haru, while also scheming a way to get closer to him through the documentary. The next day, the group learned that several tabloids have started printing out stories based on Haru's past, which Tetsuhiko believes Shun Hardy to be responsible. Despite this, they all still persist to move forward with the documentary and the true ending, which Tetsuhiko reveals is now backed by Collect Japan TV, the most popular streaming platform in Japan, which Momo suggests having each of the girls interview him, since they all have some connection to his past. The first interview is between Haru and Shiro, and she invites him to her home, where they end up reminiscing on their old friendship, and how Haru helped her get over her nervousness, ending with the two going on a date to Tokyo Tower. The following day, Momo takes her turn, where she takes him to the place his mother had died, in order for him to reconcile his feelings over the incident. She intends to use this opportunity for her to support him in his lowest moment. However, after he explains his lonely feelings after her death, Momo breaks down due to her own love for his mother, and her regret over nasty words she said to him back then. This leads to Haru, who initially felt like he couldn't cry, start to tear up as the two embrace each other. After hugging and crying together, Haru and Momo come back home, and Momo tries to use their intimate moment to get a kiss, calling Shion's attention, who is acting as love police. They bribe Shion with Shiro's photos as child and it almost works, but Shion ends up kicking Haru. Back at school, Tetsuhiko reveals that due to the other actors from Child King having retired, Kuro and Shiro will be acting alongside Haru and Momo in the true ending. After class, Kuro walks home with Haru as she reflects on her life with him and when it was she started to fall for him. She takes him to an old hiding spot that he used to go to, as they reminisce on their good memories. Kuro confesses her love to Haru again, as well as revealing the reason she rejected him that day is her revenge for being rejected initially, which Haru is finally happy to hear the reasoning. However, when she asks for his answer, he is unable to respond right away due to the lingering feelings he has for Shiro and Momo. Before he can answer, Kuro stops him, and instead proposes she becomes his childhood girlfriend, a promise that they'll remain as close as they want to, while still leaving things open if their feelings change in any way. After the documentary is released, Abe goes to visit Tetsuhiko once again, where he reveals all of the girls' scheming and Kuro's plan, with Abe surmising Tetsuhiko won out in the end. Later, Haru learns that there is a fan club for him formed in the school, which he is bashful about, all the while the girls plan to not let them get in their way. In the end, the Child King woke up from a long coma, and lives a happy life with his 3 childhood friends.